Okay, hello. We are live, allegedly. And hopefully, we have sound and there isn't any funny business with the microphone or anything else. So, if you are watching, please let me know in the comments if you can actually hear me. I was horrified when I was notified this morning that there wasn't any sound on today's forecast. And sure enough, I looked again. Oh dear, somehow the sound just went poof. And then I went back and I checked the rest of the July videos and all the same issue. Now, interestingly enough, the August videos that I already have recorded, they did not appear to have that issue. So, I guess that's good for something. you know, Hopefully, there isn't anything hinky that happens in between now and when they post. But if not, well, if we have to do morning lives, assuming that this has sound, well, then I guess that's what we're going to have to do. I see we have a viewer. Let me know if there is sound and if you can hear me, because, yeah, we do not need to be having additional sound issues today if we can help it. But let's get on with the main business at hand. The daily forecast, hopefully you can hear me now. It is for Saturday, July 27th, 2024. It is the day of Saturn, which makes this the day of magic. We are in a waning crescent moon. We're in the midst of Leo season, the Celtic tree month of holly, salmon season, Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde, Pluto retrograde, and Chiron retrograde. And many thanks to Sherry Nation. She can hear me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad. Oh, all righty. So at least people will be able to hear this edition of the forecast. That's a good sign. That's a good omen. So let's get into the nitty gritty of our astrology. We have the sun in Leo, of course. That is a fixed fire sign. It represents achievement. Leo is about the doing and having something to show off. And then, of course, wanting admiration for it. The moon does begin the day void of course. And then at 12:23 p.m. Central Time, it will enter the third quarter Taurus. That is a fixed earth sign, and that represents industry. And then at 9:52 p.m. Central Time, the fourth quarter will actually begin for the moon. Now, Mercury is in Virgo, mutable earth, representing efficiency. Venus is in Leo, fixed fire, which means to be ardent. Mars is in Gemini, mutable air, which is to be pugnacious. Jupiter is in Gemini, mutable air, which represents questing. Saturn is retrograding in Pisces, mutable water, which is about redefining dreams. Uranus is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing renovation. Neptune is retrograding in Pisces, mutable water, which represents a spiritual awakening. And if you're on social media, you should by now be noticing some people starting to really feel the effects of that. For good or ill, that's what's going on. And then with Pluto retrograding in Aquarius, that's fixed air, and it means we need to examine intentions. Very introspective. Now, a little bit more detail on those retrogrades. For Saturn, it's reevaluating your goals, reconsidering commitments, and reclaiming your authority, particularly your authority over yourself. For the Neptune retrograde, reimagine your dreams, reclaim your sense of mystery, reclaim faith and magic. Then for Pluto retrograde, reclaim ability to regenerate, reconsider what deserves your energy, and release attachments that do not serve. And Chiron retrograde is about restoring the heroic spirit. And hello to Arizona Raven, who can also hear me. This is wonderful. Oh, I do so hate technical issues. Alrighty. The moon phase for today is waning crescent. It represents meditation and balance. For the Taurus moon, some do's for us today are ground, be realistic, reject distractions. Some don'ts are attempts at conversion, quick reactions, and improvisation. So on this day of Saturn, we have the very practical Taurus moon that is firmly steering our magical efforts into a very sensible direction. So grounding meditations, cleansings, checking off your to-do list, making application of what you've already learned is just one way to make the most of this energy, but it's all going to be about what can you actually accomplish. Not what are you dreaming about, but what can you actually accomplish. Taurus is a bit bossy that way. Now for today's tarot, we have the Page of Swords. The key words for this card are authority, overseeing work, secret service, vigilance, spine, examination. And then, of course, when you are looking at a swords card, think air element, masculine energy, projective energy, the intellect. And for a page, you might consider them to be a apprentice that's being tested for soundness, particularly the page of swords, because look at him, he looks like he has been given a job to do, and he's needing to prove himself and demonstrate that he's actually capable of taking charge of what has been given him to look after. So that really leads me to thinking about, what are we in charge of in our own lives? And, I know we get so many media messages from the media telling us how helpless we are and how we can't do anything, and all this and that. I mean, have you ever noticed how hard they work to try to convince people of their own helplessness? To me, that smacks of desperation and fear, that people are not anywhere near as incapable as what the powers that be would like them to believe, and they're nervous. And so, what do you do when you're someone who with no moral compass whatsoever, and you don't want someone rising up to challenge you in any way? You cut them down. So that's just something to keep in mind as we go through the day. And just try to channel that page of swords spirit of saying, you know what, I can do this. Even if it's, what I'm doing is brand new to me, even if I feel very uncertain, I am capable of raising to the challenge. Next up, we have today's Celtic triad. It reads, there are three things proper from one who has received kindness: their thanks, their remembrance, and their requital. So expressions of gratitude go a very long way to make the person who helped you out feel really glad that they did. There's nothing like someone who treats your efforts on their behalf like it was nothing, in order to think, well, I guess I won't do that again. Gratitude is extremely important. It helps knit together relationships. And if you have received kindness, remembering those kindnesses, that fosters an enduring respect and sense of gratitude, as well as a desire to emulate that good conduct, not only to doing good to the person who did good for you, which, obviously reciprocation, that ought to be the goal, but also to be looking for opportunities to provide people with a little bit of help, since you also received help, particularly if that person, didn't actually have to. They weren't really under any kind of obligation. They just did it because they cared about your well-being and they wanted to see you do all right. Striving to live up to that standard oneself, I think that's something really worth striving for. And then again, reciprocation, especially to the person who is kind to us. That solidifies that we are sincere, particularly in their mind, because, actions speak louder than words. And that just furthers good relationships. And if there's one thing we need right now, it's more and better relationships. All of the atomization has just been a poison to the human spirit. Now, today's magical intention, it's all about quests, very adventurous, not really in alignment with that Taurus moon energy, but it is in alignment with the Jupiter energy. So for this, the color is gray, the plant is sage, the animal is the horse, and the crystal is the smoky quartz. And the current planetary retrogrades, they are pulling us towards our own personal quests. You may have felt yourself getting drawn into things. Perhaps it's a project. Maybe you're writing a book. Maybe you're taking something up. Maybe you are studying something that you were always casually interested in, but now you're really diving in and going deeper. That is all of that planetary retrograde energy. So you see, they aren't just about, gumming up the works and making life difficult for us. It really is an opportunity for us to reflect and course correct when and how is necessary. So if you are feeling that pull, go ahead and pursue that. Make use of some of these correspondences if you're wanting to give yourself a little magical boost. Then for today's practice, honor a magical deity, of course, because it's Saturday and that's what we do. You might work on your crown chakra. And then ask yourself, what lesson have you learned from studying your Saturn sign? Because we have been looking at our astrological placements, especially the ones that relate to the days of the week, for a little while now. So what have you gotten out of all of that? And this is specifically in relationship to your Saturn sign. What does this teach you about yourself? Has it affected how you go about your daily life in any way? Then, if you're feeling creative, you might write a prayer to a magical deity. And then, of course, set spiritual goals for the Lunasa season. Now, depending on a person's perspective, they either tend to view the lead up to Lunasa as being the Lunasa season, or they see the time period afterwards as the Lunasa season, or just some kind of mixture in between. For me, The Lunasa season, it kind of begins, at least in my mind, on August the 1st. That's when I start feeling that energy pretty consistently each year. And then going through to the beginning of September, that's when I'm still very much in that Lunasa kind of mode. So, in another way, what are you wanting to do with your August? I know August is kind of it's a own special kind of month. It's the very tail end of summer. A lot of people with children, they're having to get them all geared up to go back into school, especially since so many schools start so early these years. There's a lot to do, but it's not really very adventurous. It's not fun stuff. It's just kind of really practical and just this is what needs to be done because this is the time to do it. So inserting a little bit of something that you do want, something that fires you up a little bit, that would probably be, good, especially if you're experiencing some of those summer doldrums. I know that I'm starting to experience the summer doldrums. We've been pretty lucky with our weather this far through the year, but we are kind of going on up into a bit of a heat wave. And, can't complain because that's what this time of year is supposed to do, but still it does kind of drain the energy right out of my body. Now for your journal prompt for today. We see this illustration of a well. It goes down through the ground, it goes down through this kind of cave like chamber, and then it reaches down into the very depths of those waters. So, how deep does the sacred well go? How deep is your spiritual well? And are you ready to explore that? So, again, we have another infusion of that adventurous spirit that's still. It's adventure that can be accomplished within the limitations of your own power. So, that is what we have for you for the daily forecast today. Again, I really want to apologize for the sound issues. I did not realize I would not have posted the videos in that condition if I had realized and if things hadn't looked shipshape from my end. So, don't know what happened. Really hoping it doesn't happen again in the future. But since the previous July videos going from today, the 27th, on through the 31st, since they were all a washout, you can expect to find me here live in the mornings. I don't know if I'll be able to make it 7 o'clock in the morning the way I normally do with my other postings, but I will try to make sure that it's pretty early in the day so that, you're still hearing this information, kind of first thing, when your mind is fresh. And that way you have that good start to your day and you're thinking about spiritual things rather than all of the stuff that's just going on in the world. I mean, there's been so much stuff lately, and every single day there's some new thing that's been the thing to talk about, or altered the nature of our situation in some dramatic way, and it's a lot, and yeah, it's a lot. So it's good to take a break from all of that. It's a good to remind ourselves that no matter what happens, the sun will continue to rise in the east, the sun will set in the west, and whatever challenges we have to face, we can certainly overcome them. Our ancestors overcame great challenges, the likes of which, many of us have never been tested in anything remotely like that way. So hopefully we're getting everything off on a good start, and we will continue to do so. And again, I will be going live in the mornings, then. And we'll just see how that goes. I mean, ultimately, let me know if you like doing this live a little bit more, because maybe that is something that I could work into the schedule going forward, at least during the week. So just let me know. And hello to Gypsy Glitter. She's wishing me a very magical day to you as well. Appreciate having you here. And thank you, everyone, for popping in, especially after the annoyance of the sound issue. But I am going to get off here. I'm going to let you get back to your Saturdays, and I hope you have a really wonderful weekend. Again, I will be back here tomorrow, and I'm going to be working on a super duper secret project that I've been dropping broad hints about on X. So if you follow me on Twitter, Twix, X, what have you, those little hints you've been seeing, things are going very well. It's really a lot of crunch time right now because there's so much to do, so much. I want to get everything off on a good foot. But for everyone else who doesn't follow me on that platform, well, watch out for a little announcement come Lunasa. I have a present for you. So that does it for now. See you guys next time. Have a wonderful Saturday. Bye.